My name's Beau F. I'm a lead artist at Realtime Worlds. Well, most recently I was working in the US and I thought that it was time for a change. So I talked to my wife and we decided that it would be fun to start looking for jobs in Europe. And I came across the ad here and it seemed to fit my qualifications, and next thing I know I was working here. In my job here, I'm a lead artist, which means that I have to sort of maintain the vision of whatever I'm in charge of. We traveled a lot when I was a kid. So I think we started traveling when I was 4 years old, and we went to places like Iran, Borneo, Singapore. We even came here to Scotland at one point when I was 9 years old. It affected my education sort of poorly at first, actually. Jumping from school to school was very difficult for a young person, especially dealing with different types of language. At first, when I was traveling, I would come home and I would tell these fantastic stories about things that we'd done as kids, like my sister getting caught in quicksand in the jungles of Borneo. But people thought I was bragging. They thought I was making these stories up. And the teachers even thought that I was making it up. So they would call my mom and I would get in trouble, and I would be called in for these parent-teacher conferences, and my mom would say, yes, we did actually live in Borneo, and his sister did actually get caught in quicksand. And it was very difficult at that point to deal with that. So of course, as a kid, the thing you do is you shut down. I was doing fairly poorly in school, and my parents thought I might have eye problems because my dad has pretty serious, eye problems. And so they took me to an optometrist, and the optometrist actually said, your son has perfect vision, but I do have a prescription for you. And my parents kind of looked at him funny, and he said, buy him a computer. I did this for my son and it changed his world. And so my parents, we weren't making very much money at the time, but we scraped together everything we had and we bought a little Apple computer. And it was true, my world completely changed after that. I started to engage more with math and words because I actually had a context for what they were for. And I started playing video games, and that was the end. I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't know what the best route to get into games was. I always loved art, and I'd always enjoyed drawing things and painting and doing things with my hands. But the only course I saw into games was through math, through learning to program. So that was the path I started down. And games started to evolve as I was actually doing this. And I started to see actual art appearing in these games. And I thought, maybe I can actually use my artistic talent to get into games. While I was at the Art Institute, I learned that one of the instructors that taught a night course was actually working at a game company. And this was just sort of amazing to me. It's like to actually meet somebody that works at a game company. So I actually went to his class just so I could meet him and talk to him and ask him how he got in. It turned out that he was actually the art director at this company, and they didn't have any positions for somebody who was still in school, but they were looking for testers. So I was like, well, I can test games, and that's how I got my foot in the door. The games industry, when I started, was just starting out. The previous to my entry into it, it was mostly guys in their garage who had done these projects together, and I had no idea how I was going to get into it. But I got in sort of through a lucky group of happenstance. But it was always my goal, and it was amazing that, I just believed in what I could do, and I ended up there.